Hello and a warm welcome to Superleague Formula, the final round. We've traversed across Europe and we end up in southern Spain at the historical track of Jerez. It's a beautiful day at the 4.4 kilometre circuit, Circuito de Jerez, as it's known here locally, and of course the site of Formula One world titles in the past and the home of the biggest MotoGP race. But today, host of the final round of Superleague Formula. Today we have two races coming your way, starting with race 1 at 10 a.m. GMT, race 2, the reverse grid, at 1300 GMT, and the title is hanging in the balance quite literally. Alongside me, Jonathan Green, Bruce Giuani, exciting stuff ahead.
Yes, well, a little bit windy as you can see, but still perfect conditions for a good race with lots of contenders.
Yeah, it's been perfect conditions all day. Not a cloud in the sky, as you say. Just a little bit of wind out of the north. And one of the favourites today, definitely, Borja Garcia, wanting to go well for local team Sevilla. Well, the teams arrived here on Wednesday and have been setting up their cars and were soon out and about in Jerez. The streets of Jerez were brought to a standstill as the Spanish contingent of Superleague Formula took to the tarmac. The local fans were treated to a closer look at these amazing cars and their drivers, and the new formula didn't disappoint.
I need to, I think, 2 or 3 passes in the street, and we'll see what happens. Maybe a little bit of spin for the public, and I think it's nice to see and nice to drive. I hope the traffic light is off because it's red. I don't stop.
I think it's good to make the car be a bit closer to the fans and to the people and watch it here directly on a proper street where the cars are going. It was quite strange to see the lights going green and red, but yeah, it's quite fun.
Un fuerte aplauso a
I just was taking it easy. I want to keep my engine for the race. But anyway, it's okay, just so the people can see how is the car and what it's gonna be like in the track. But I think they will enjoy more over there. I really like a street circuit, but this is not like a street circuit. This is like a rally.
Certainly gave the crowd a thrill, and here we are at the Jerez circuit. These are the rules. Race length 44 minutes plus 1 lap. It's a rolling start. Compulsory pit stop between laps 8 and 20 just for the tyre change. And race 1 results will be reversed, a reverse grid. So if you win race 1, you have to go all the way to the back for race 2, which has made it very exciting in terms of point scoring. Everybody scores points. There's James Walker of Dortmund. He looks as though he's going to start from the pit lane for race 1, but he is at the back of the grid, so it won't make too much difference. No time to qualify, had problems with spare parts, and of course we're involved in that big shunt last time out at Villelunga. Well, 5 rounds have gone. Let's take a look now at what's happened so far with Bruce Giuani.
They say good things come to those who wait. And you know what? They're right. Donington and Superleague Formula. A new era in motorsport began.
And we are racing. Away we go for the first ever Superleague Formula.
And the first ever race that was won by Davide Rigo of Beijing.
The car is perfect. I am very happy for this.
The second race saw an absolute downpour, much to the dismay of Al Aid.
Oh, and a big off there. No, Dortmund spins it. But he didn't have his dancing shoes on.
But dancing with delight was Borja Garcia, who ploughed through the rain to take the checkered flag for Sevilla FC.
This win is amazing for me and for my team.
Next Nürburgring. Milan and their champ car Rookie of the Year, Bobby Dornbos, prove form is temporary, but class is permanent.
It was a flawless performance from Robert Dornbos as he led from pole to podium.
Pointing the way for PSV Eindhoven in the second race in Germany was Jelmer Berman, delighted to take maximum points.
Zolder, Belgium. And Anderlecht have a new hero. He can't play football, but he surely can drive.
Britain's Craig Dolby may be no footballer, but when he went to the Constant van den Stock Stadium, he certainly got into the spirit of it all.
The RSC Anderlecht fans are great, as you can hear now. And they accepted me very well, and I'm going to go and win this weekend for them. Listen to them. They're fantastic.
Well, unfortunately, he couldn't quite pull that off, although he did take 2 second places. First of all, behind Adrian Baez for Liverpool FC in race 1. And in race 2, he followed David Regan of Beijing Guoan home. Regan, the only man to take 2 wins so far in the season.
Estoril, sun, sea, sand, and Superleague formula. From the beach
With Casper Anderson,
to the streets,
with Adrian Baez,
to the casino,
with twisting Tristan Gomendy.
In Estoril, it was Premier League leaders Liverpool who stole the honours in race 1. Adrian Baez passing Milan's Robert Dornbos on his way to maximum points.
It was a difficult overtaking, but I made it.
In race 2, Paul Meyer and Alain stormed to victory, but Milan's Robert Dornbos was equally impressive with back-to-back second places.
next, all road led to Rome and Vallelunga.
There he goes, victory for Davide Rigon for the Chinese club of Beijing.
Oh, Frank makes a mistake, he loses it.
Oh no! Had a last lap overtaking manoeuvre for victory, and Gomendy scores a famous victory. This has been the best race in Super League Formula here at Vallelunga.
So here we are in Jerez, and like a good sherry, Super League Formula just gets better with age.
The championship is still young, but I'll tell you what, it's getting to be a vintage amongst the fans for sure. A lot of fans, a lot of football fans, especially here from Sevilla and from FC Porto, I noticed, right by our commentary booth. That is the scene. Liverpool are right where they need to be. They are in contention for the title. They're one of 4 teams all able to take the first ever Super League. There's no doubt about it. Battle lines are drawn.
I like very much to win. I don't know why.
Still second, so that's good. And now hopefully we can fight for the championship.
We still have options, so we're gonna fight until the end.
I think the AC Milan car and myself, we proved to be definitely the fastest in the championship.
But look at Beijing, they are flying.
Better than this was not possible. So now we try to keep this distance.
The first 2-time winner, Davide Rigon of Italy.
You know, a lot of drivers are fast. I'm not sure I'm the best. I am one of the best, so we will see. We will do a good fight together. We will see in Sunday.
It's PSV Eindhoven, the leader. If you told me before the season started to be second in the championship going into the last round, then I would have been happy.
And Jelmer Berman takes the checkered flag.
Beijing 60 points ahead of me, so the only thing I can do is drive the best 2 races I can.
A good start from Liverpool.
In every race track we've been always really competitive and probably one of the strongest in the grid.
50 points as Liverpool march on.
I don't have any pressure because you know, I don't have anything to lose. I just have to win. I think Beijing will have the pressure.
Dornbos really showing his class now.
We've been unlucky in the first 2 races just by not actually racing at all because of mechanical failure. So that's why we're only 4th.
And Robert Dornbos will take the checkered flag here for Milan.
I'm going for the win. There's only one place we want to end this weekend, and it's on the highest step of the podium. We finished like 4 times second this year already, so it's time for a win.
It really is all to play for. Beijing have a 59-point lead, but there are 50 points for each win. PSV Eindhoven in second place, only a few places ahead of Liverpool. Milan also in the run-up. And look at Roma in 6th place. Could they stop Milan? Who knows? Corinthians, Flamenco, all with a reason to go better here in the final race of the season. Olympiacos and Atletico Madrid. Madrid definitely want to finishing on a high. They've got a lot of fans here watching them. But Beijing are the team everybody is watching. They've been leading the series all year long. And in qualifying, well, it was just plain sailing. Qualify well and everything will be okay. Let's have a look now at what happened in qualifying. The big story of the opening qualifying session was the early exit of championship leader Davide Rigon of Beijing Guoan. Bit of pressure showing. Here's on board with Davide Rigon as he went on. So here's the quarter-final lineup. AS Roma taking on Corinthians. Sevilla face Liverpool. Milan go head-to-head with Porto. And Galatasaray clash with Atletico Madrid. First up, the thumbs up, Roma's Frank Pereira battled it out with Antonio Pizzonia of Corinthians. And it was Pereira who proceeded to the semis by almost a second. Next to go through to the last 4 was Adrian Baez of Liverpool. He left Sevilla's Borja Garcia struggling in his slipstream and will meet the winner of the clash between Robert Dornbos of AC Milan and Tristan Gomendi of FC Porto. The Italian outfit were outgunned in the closest of quarter-finals, Porto prevailing by just 0.182 of a second. The last quarter saw Galatasaray up against Atletico Madrid. Alessandro Poguidi of the Turkish team was unable to match the raw pace of Madrid's Andy Soucek. And that left the semi-final looking like this. AS Roma versus Atletico Madrid and FC Porto against Liverpool. And from the outset of semi-final 1, Roma outpaced their Spanish rivals. And it was Frank Pereira who duly booked his place in the race for pole position. In the second semi-final, Adrian Baez of Liverpool faced Porto. And despite Tristan Gomendi's best efforts, it was the English club who set up a repeat of the 1984 European Cup final, Roma against Liverpool. Liverpool, with the help of goalkeeper Bruce Goblar's wobbly legs, won that famous encounter on penalties all those years ago. And they triumphed again here in Jerez in 2008, snatching the pole position by just 0.240 of a second. So let's take a look at the grid. In pole position for the second time in a row, Adrian Baez of Liverpool. Alongside him, AS Roma's Frank Pereira. Just behind them, Tristan Gomendi, winner of the last race for FC Porto. Atletico Madrid racing at home and Andy Soucek in 4th place. Galatasaray and Alessandro Poguidi in 5th place. AC Milan and Robert Dornbos in 6th place. Sevilla racing at home also, Borja Garcia in 7th place. Antonio Pizzonia and Corinthians in 8th. Then Spurs with Duncan Tapie in 9th. FC Basel, Max Weisel of Germany in 10th position. Rangers in 11th with Ryan Dazelle. Elaine, Bertrand Baguette in 12th place. Craig Dolby of Anderlecht in 13th. Jelmer Berman 2nd in the league but 14th on the grid. Flamenco down in 15th place, just ahead of Olympiacos. But look at the championship leader, David Rigon, all the way down in 17th place. He's going to have a big race. So no doubt about it, Beijing under extreme pressure now, having to start the first race almost right at the very back. Here is the grid, these are the pictures, and Liverpool definitely in the best position of all. Bruce Ioane, could Adrian Baez and this team take it?
Of course they can. I mean, starting from pole position is the ideal position. He's inside for the first corner. He was the fastest yesterday without a doubt, even though Roma was quick. But yeah, Liverpool could do it. Frank Pereira from Rome was very, very strong yesterday. all through qualifying, so watch him as well. It's going to be quick and competitive, and I'm sure he's going to go for the win.
Roma could actually pass AC Milan. As we take a look at FC Porto, Tristan Gomonti, a lot of fans for them here today.
Winner last time on the last race in Vallelunga, so he's back in good form.
Well, a lot of eyes on this team, of course. Atletico Madrid and Andy Susek, who knows the circuit well from Formula 3 days.
And he was the fastest in Vallelunga, fastest lap of race 2, so strong as well.
Galatasaray, Alessandro Perguidi. What about them this weekend?
Well, they're strong. He was going to be one of the quickest cars, but he had a little fuel pump problem yesterday in qualifying, so he's going to be strong as well, for sure.
And Robert Dornbos, usually the expert of qualifying, but definitely has had an up and down season, but always strong.
Yeah, I mean, Robert yesterday wasn't as strong as usual, but he's been so competitive in the races that I'm sure he's going to be fighting up there.
And he wants to finish his season on a high. AC Milan still in contention. Borja Garcia, well, they've got 8 busloads of fans coming down from Sevilla. He's under pressure.
Yes, he was unlucky yesterday, but still made it to the finals, to the top shot. So he's going to be fighting hard today, I'm sure.
1-1 race, of course, at Donington Park. Antonio Pizzonia wants a Formula 1 start now, fighting for Corinthians, his home team. And further down, Tottenham Hotspur, Duncan Tappy. He's had an up and down season. He blasted onto the scene at Donington. And Tottenham, well, not in contention for the title, but they could do with a win.
Yeah, and he's strong in the races. He always does good starts. So let's watch Duncan.
One of the youngsters, Max Wiesel of Germany, representing FC Basel.
Early spin yesterday, so just learning the track. Not easy, new track with a new car.
And Ryan Dizelle of Scotland and Rangers. Best finish of 5th place last time. Things going forward, according to him. Looking forward to this weekend. Craig Dolby, that's Alain and Bertrand Baguette. Now, you know Baguette well.
Well, he did the World Series, he did Formula Renault, big step in one shot, but it's a newcomer in the series. He's a good driver, so we'll have an eye on him to see what he's capable of doing.
Andreas Suber, of course, driving for Alain early in the season. There's Craig Dolby, similar car colours for RSC Anderlecht, enjoying his time in the limelight for sure. The young Englishman from Melton Mowbray, who really no one really had heard of before this series, and now making a name for himself as we take a look at second in the championship, Jelmer Berman and PSV Eindhoven.
Yeah, those two guys starting at the back, Jelmer and Craig Dolby, they always are competitive in the races, and they always finish well, so we'll see what they're capable of doing this time.
Yeah, not an easy story for Eindhoven. Flamenco likewise, Tuco Rocco not getting the best out of qualifying, and it's been disappointment really for two of the best followed teams in terms of football, Flamenco and Corinthians, and so they have to buck up somewhat and save some pride. Olympiakos, Stamatis Kamatsis is definitely enjoying his time, one of the few drivers without the experience perhaps of some of the others, but really relishing the opportunity to race against the likes of Davide Rigon and of course Robert Dornbos. Here's your championship leader. A lot of pressure on Davide Rigon, the Italian. Can he do it from the back?
Well, he's all smile from inside of the car, so well, he can enter the top 10, I'm sure, from the back.
Well, to put a clear sign on it, basically Davide Rigon has to finish 9th in this race, or 9th in both races. There's Borussia Dortmund, James Walker of Great Britain starting from the pit lane. No time in qualifying. They really have been behind the ball somewhat, so it's not going to be an easy weekend for them. But basically, all that Davide Rigon has to do is collect 39 points and finish roughly 9th in each race or above, and the title will be his. That is assuming that Liverpool or Eindhoven win both races. If they don't, well, it's an easier run. But Davide Rigon won't be counting on that. He'll be racing to try and get through the field. I will put you effectively on Rigon watch, so you can keep an eye on whether he comes through the field. I'll make sure that Adrian Valles keeps it all steady at the front. We're about to go racing for Super League Formula for the final time here at Jerez.
And I'm sure AS Roma will want to go for a win, because he was leading until the last lap in Vallelunga, and FC Porto made a move and he finished second. He had this win in the pocket, nearly in his hands, and lost it. So he's going to be fighting. Liverpool is going to be fighting because he has nothing to lose.
Duncan Tappy stalled on the grid for Tottenham Hotspur.
Yeah, I hope it's just Duncan stalling the engine, but that means he will have to start from the back. No,
away he goes. He's got it sorted, and Tottenham are back in gear.
But I'm afraid he will have to start from the back of the field, at the back of the grid.
Well, Tottenham themselves have got a new manager. It looks like Duncan needs a new management system. Anyway, back to what is a rolling start. And how about a rolling start? Is it easier, do you think?
Well, it's probably a little bit easier than a standing start because it's easier to make a mistake in the standing start, like spinning the wheels too much or stalling. But it's not going to be super easy here, the rolling start, because you've got a hairpin before the main start-finish straight, and that means that it's going to be hard to get side by side. Not all of the cars will have enough time to be side by side, basically.
Really looking forward to this. The crowd on their feet to the point where they're actually in front of us. All the FC Porto fans. It is like a football match in front of us right now. Really enjoying and basking in the sunshine of Jerez as we anticipate the start of this one. Wherever you're watching around the world, this is the final leg of Super League Formula, the final round. There is Davide Rigon right at the back. He is the championship leader by 59 points, but he needs to come through.
And you could see, as Liverpool is warming up their tyres, you could see the Tottenham Hotspur's car from Duncan Tappy trying to make his way back up to his grid position, but he hasn't got the right to, so he wasn't probably told by his engineer, but we'll see what happens.
So he should really, in effect, start from the back. We might get a ruling on that.
Yes, once all the cars have overtaken you, you have to start behind them.
Okay, makes things interesting. So here we go then, a rolling start for the start of the first race. Remember, the second race, Dortmund now heading out of the pits, and they will start from the pit lane, and a rolling start.
Dortmund is in line. I'm sure Beijing is going to be very careful, as usual, on the first corner. He has to stay on the track and avoid the traffic, avoid the mess, basically.
So, Adrian Valles of Liverpool, the local man from Alicante. In fact, a busload of his family and friends have come down. He desperately wants to win this first race of the day. He now will lead the race. AS Roma behind him. We're about to go racing for the final time of Super League Formula 2008. Adrian Valles of Liverpool leads the round. Crowd on their feet. Away we go!
Okay, no one tries to make a move. AS Roma on the inside, Gomendi locking the wheels.
Oh, a little bit of a lock up there. Beijing already trying to get through one place but can't do it. They're stayed right at the back and Liverpool lead. A lock up by Andy Susek. Oh, it's all going on to turn two. That's the Michelin turn, and they've left a lot of Michelin rubber down there.
Yeah, they're all trying to make a move as soon as possible. That's when it's easier because everybody's packed together, but no one has been able to make a move just so far.
Good start from Liverpool, keeping an eye on Rigan. He's right at the back though for Beijing. They're the green and white of Guan FC. Yeah. They lead the championship by 59 points and they need to get some points.
And Borja Garcia, very good start. He's trying to make a move at the end of the long straight. Around the outside is going to be difficult. And I think Beijing won as well, made one place.
So Beijing have made up. No, they haven't. They're still at the back.
Oh, they're still at the back. Hey, we've got Olympiacos defending well.
Liverpool pulling away though at the front in these early stages. AS Roma still in second place and holding off the chasing pack.
And I think Atletico Madrid made a move on FC Porto. Atletico Madrid is now running third through the chicane. Liverpool pulling away, then Roma, then Madrid, then Porto, then Galatasaray, then Milan.
Adrian Valles, of course, winner of the last round, or certainly a pole position last time out, and he knows exactly what he wants to do in this one, which is to win at home. He's won everywhere else, but not in Spain. Across the line they come to complete the first lap. Liverpool lead from Roma. Atletico still in third place. Porto still in fourth. Galatasaray, AC Milan, Corinthians, Sevilla and Spurs still in the top 10.
Beijing not able yet to make a move. He's still running in last position.
Well, second to last, given that Dortmund haven't caught up yet.
Yes,
there are Dortmund crossing the line now. So at least to that point of view, he's in 17th position.
And you know how long those races are. Anything can happen in the race. Still lots of things happening in the front. So he doesn't want to ruin all his chances. He has to stay on the track. That's the first thing.
Tottenham Hotspurs on the move at the moment. Duncan Tappy all over the back of Sevilla. There you see him coming through your shot right now. Blue and white of Spurs. And here comes Rigan again, trying to get past, but it's great defensive driving at the moment from the man in front of him. That's Olympiacos.
For me, so far, Atletico Madrid looks very, very strong, and they're putting pressure now on AS Roma. You can see the many red, white and blue car very close from AS Roma over there.
Cracking start by Liverpool as they come through the chicane, the Ayrton Senna chicane, and onto the Ferrari turn. They've got, what, 3 car lengths?
Yeah, 3-4 car lengths. Very good. Fastest in the first sector, fastest in the second sector. For sure the quickest lap of the race so far, it's Liverpool.
Down to the last turn. It was 1.6 seconds. Liverpool crossed the line right in front of our commentary position now. Let's take a look at the gap now. And it's gone up a little bit now. Over 2.5, so he really is steaming at the moment.
Yes, he is indeed. I mean, if his car is capable of running that quick, he has to push as hard as he can to put himself away from the pressure from the back and pull the biggest gap he can. AS Roma being pushed by Atletico Madrid, who's only 5 tenths behind him, and we're on board with David Rigon.
Yeah, and it just shows you Rigon really struggling to try and get past Stamatis Katsimis, the young Greek driver, and he said that there's not many famous drivers from Greece. You have to go back to the chariot days to find one. And he really is proud to be racing for Olympiacos, and he's doing a good job of holding off the championship leader. But Rigon, as they head towards Drysack, is looking to try and make a manoeuvre, and already Liverpool pulling away. Liverpool can see their destiny, 3rd in the league at the start of the day. They can win the title here. Well, yes. They're the masters in football of coming from behind. Maybe they could do it in racing terms as well.
Well, Davide Rigon has to react now, otherwise it's going to be too late.
Yeah, no question. Rigon needs to finish in the top 9, and that could be real trouble. There's FC Porto going through. Tristan Gomondi, winner last time out, as you mentioned.
And I'm very impressed by Atletico Madrid being able to follow AS Roma from so close. Look at that, he's just right in his gearbox.
Cross they come, 3 laps completed, 39 minutes to go. The gap 3.6 seconds, and Liverpool are flying. A last lap of 1:31.2. They are a second ahead, almost a lap quicker than anybody else.
Yeah, he is 1 second quicker than AS Roma, who's running second, and therefore 1 second quicker than anyone else on the grid.
Well, this high-tech prepared Liverpool FC car really flying at the moment, and Adrian Valles racing at home, heads down the back straight up to 5th gear now, 6th gear headed down towards Drysack. Hard on the anchors right here into 2nd gear now.
Making the apex, and you can see the car being a little bit heavier because the car is full of fuel, 80 kilos of fuel inside, which makes the car a lot slower than in qualifying. That's why we're seeing laps in 31s, and then we were seeing high 28s.
Whoa, he's pushing it.
He's pushing very hard. That's what it does. Lots of fuel in the car makes the car slide a lot more with more inertia, basically.
And it will get lighter and therefore easier as the race goes on?
Exactly, and you will see the lap time. Even though if the tyres are going away, still the Michelin tyres are very, very consistent, but as the fuel goes away, the car gets easier to drive and faster.
Beijing, has he got through? Yes, he has. He's made up 1 place. He's up to 16th. Rigon on the move. His last lap, David Rigon, was a 1:34, and that was no quicker than the team in front of him, though. He's now got Flamenco in his sights. This was...
And the Rangers as well.
He's got past Rangers, yeah.
Yes. Well, basically, that's good for his motivation. He has to carry on pushing. Every car he's going to overtake is going to help him building up his confidence as Max Wessel is off. You see, that's why it's important to wait. There is no reason to rush too much for David Rigon, because the others are making a mistake.
The race could come to him.
Exactly,
for sure.
Exactly.
Well, there is Guon, the championship leaders. They've never lost the lead of the championship. They were quick right from the opening round at Donington Park. They've looked good all along. They qualified in pole position and, of course, won the first ever race. Didn't win again until Zolder at race 2, and then in Vallelunga as well. And they've just been the most consistent team.
And I think the 1:34 that we saw on the last lap, that's including avoiding the spin of Max Wessel, and it's including the overtaking maneuver on Olympiacos. Looking at him just now, he seems pretty fast to me because he's catching up Flamengo extremely fast.
Yeah, Flamenco are his next victim, so to speak. That will put him up to 13th place. Remember, only needs to finish in the top 9 to keep his hopes alive. And when I say alive, his championship winning chance alive.
And as I was saying, Atletico Madrid was looking super strong, and they've made a move on AS Roma. He found a way to overtake, which is super hard on this circuit. Liverpool is leading. Now it's Atletico Madrid second in front of AS Roma.
And there you see Andy Susek coming into your shot now in second place. Atletico in second, AS Roma in third, Justin Gomini and FC Porto. Then it's AC Milan, Corinthians right behind. It's all going on. Corinthians just ahead of Sevilla. Tottenham Hotspur still in the top 10. But Liverpool are flying. This time a 1:31.7. Atletico on the same sort of pace at the moment, and the first two are leading by a long way and on the same pace, and much better than anyone else.
Yes, it's going to be interesting to see what happens with between AC Milan and Corinthians as well, who are lapping quite slowly, but Corinthians seems to be quite strong, and his car should be about similar, to the Atletico Madrid car.
And Flamenco have upped the pace a little bit.
Yes, Flamengo.
They've just put their fastest lap in ahead of Beijing, so Beijing really going to have to push hard. And David Rigon, the young Italian, who really is making a name. I spoke to him yesterday. He admitted it was his mistake in qualifying. And I was asking how Super League was going for him, and he said it really is changing people's opinion in Italy. He wasn't that well known until he started to lead here, and now look at him, he's going to be well known if he gets past Flamenco. He was all over the back of him then, and David Rigon looking to make up another place. He's currently 14.
Yeah, he's only 2/10 behind Flamengo now. He's already trying to find his way around. Be careful, because he can lose downforce into those high-speed corners.
Guan FC from Beijing, the championship leaders in the first ever Super League formula.
He will have to wait another few corners to try to make a move.
I'm going to say, where do you overtake here at Jerez?
Well, not in the chicane, that's for sure. Maybe in the next corner, going to the last hairpin, there is a place, but he's not close enough.
Maybe into turn one. We come into the last turn. The next best opportunity is down the main straight and into the first corner, which is the right-hander uphill. Here we go.
Exactly, that's here, but I think he's a little bit too far.
Not close enough this time. Liverpool still lead. Galatasaray fighting now. And that's with Anderlecht by the looks of things. Anderlecht putting some pressure for a top 10 position.
And I think Anderlecht just overtook Galatasaray, I think.
Oh, and that was Rigon right up the... Oh, and he's got past Flamenco. They've broken down.
I hope they haven't banged wheels, because I saw Flamengo being very slow.
Well, the Brazilian's not salsering around there. That was definitely a problem of some sort.
Yeah, Flamengo has a problem, that's for sure. That's another place for Beijing.
That is another place. Beijing go up one more place. They need to finish in the top 9 if Liverpool win. Liverpool way ahead by over 4 seconds now. Atletico Madrid still in second place. AS Roma still in third. Porto, as you can see, all over the back of Roma.
And no problems for Beijing. Still running, still fast, and making the move up the field.
Well, it depends how far PSV Eindhoven, and that's interesting because, of course, the next man up for Beijing, here's what happened. He basically just pulled out the way and slowed down dramatically, and Rigon had to take avoiding action.
Exactly, yeah, he had to avoid him. You have to be really alert to avoid any contact.
Well, the interesting thing now for David Rigon, with 33 minutes to go, that's half an hour in old money, and there's a long way to go. But the big problem for Beijing right now is the next team they want to overtake is the team second in the league, PSV Eindhoven.
And they're about 3 seconds ahead, which is quite far. And we have Galatasaray giving up on this one. They're back into the pit lane. It's over for Galatasaray, as we have Liverpool now still leading with quite a big gap, 4.5 seconds.
First and second, big gap between them two, but look at the battles going on here between Roma coming through now, Porto, AC Milan right behind them, then Corinthians, and then there's a battle between Sevilla and Tottenham. Excellent stuff in the midfield.
Yeah, since the beginning of the race, Frank Pereira must not be so happy with his car, because he's holding up everyone behind him, still being able to keep them behind.
Yeah, I'm amazed. AS Roma were doing 128s in qualifying and now down in 133s, and that's a lot to do with fuel, but he doesn't look as quick, does he?
Yeah, no, he doesn't. I mean, maybe his car setup was good for qualifying, but maybe the car doesn't like the fuel.
And there is Galatasaray out of the car, and that's definitely some sort of mechanical problem. They are all looking at it very closely, and they'll want to get that car back. Flamenco there's their problem, and they are out. Tuca Roca hits the rocks. Liverpool, though, flying high. The gap 4 seconds between Andy Susek and Adrian Valles, the two Spaniards, remember. And last lap, Atletico made a little bit of time on them, 2:10, that's all. And so Liverpool with half an hour to go as Corinthians pull in by the looks of things.
Okay, Corinthians, that's another place for Beijing.
Yes, Beijing, that's great news for Beijing.
Beijing is now P11. That's the tyre change.
That's the first pit stop then.
Yep. And that's where Beijing has been quite good. They always were strong during the pit stops, so he can make up some places theoretically during the tyre change.
Well, it's going to be interesting tactically when and where the top men make their stops. Liverpool out front have a 4-second gap. That will help them. And they have no need right now. They're not in traffic to take the pit stop early. Corinthians were in traffic, and that's why they chose to come in when they did. All eyes will be on when Regan comes in.
Yes, exactly. I think Regan, as soon as he doesn't have traffic in front of him, he's not going to pit. And we're in on board.
Great onboard pictures there. And Liverpool are in! The leaders are in!
Okay, they probably have better tyres to put on.
Whoa, he means business, doesn't he? He's drifting into the pits. Now he's got the limiter on board with Adrian Valles. Painfully long time as Atletico take the lead for the first time, but they haven't pitted yet. Important pit stop this one for Liverpool, third in the league.
And new tyres for Liverpool. They had one set of new tyres left.
Quick change there. And that is an excellent change by Liverpool. Away they go. They didn't drop the ball there by any means.
Good job from the team.
Now, race control message.
Yeah, the pit window has been open since last lap.
So that was just to let him know that the pit window is open, and away goes Valles. And he'll want to get past this traffic. He's got FC Basel in front of him and Olympiacos. He's right at the back.
That wasn't very well calculated from,
really.
From the team, because they should have been able to see that they're basically, theoretically, it's quite easy to calculate. You know that your pit stop is going to cost you about 30-40 seconds. So you look back down the field, you look at who's 40 seconds behind you as your leader, and you know where you're going to end up after your pit stop.
I just wonder whether Valles had problems with those tyres, because he was pushing really hard in the opening stages. He's made up one place on Max Wiesel, and the FC Basel man has to get out of the way. It's back with the leader, Atletico.
We could see the car sliding, but I don't think he had any major problems with his tyres, because the Michelin tyres are very consistent.
Atletico carry on.
I just think it was an early pit stop, and Atletico is doing a good job. You see all the cars are sliding.
Andy Susek, who made his name in GP2 and Formula 3, now making his name in Superleague Formula, really enjoying it. And of course, this his home race as well. He leads the way, but he has to take a pit stop. Roma are behind him.
And we're on board again. Let's listen to the sound of the V12.
FC Porto have come in to take their pit stop. So Porto, who were in 5th place, and here comes Beijing. Massive stop for them. They've got to get this right at Beijing. And away they go. That looked clean to me.
Yes, a little bit of hesitation off the clutch from David Erigon.
Anderlecht have also chosen to come in. Porto, Anderlecht and Beijing in the pits.
Takes off one tear off.
Max Wiesel, after that scare, has also been in. Atletico still circulating in the lead. Roma still second. Sevilla now up to 3rd place ahead of Alain. Olympiacos in 5th, but of course they've yet to pit.
And I can tell you, Beijing is doing a good job. He's pushing hard, and he's made up some time on the car in front of him. He's made up some time on PSV Eindhoven.
So fascinating race, and the championship very much in the balance. Nobody can relax, nobody can really calculate just where they are, because at this point it's a case of just driving as hard. You can't sit and wonder where you are, can you?
Exactly. The only thing you can do is push as hard as you can, and you have Liverpool overtaking Olympiacos.
Yep, they've gone past Olympiacos, and they've made up 2 very good manoeuvres there. And number 21, Adrian Valles, doing an excellent job so far.
So no more traffic for him. Now he can push, and he can use his new set of tyres as much as he can to make sure he biggers the gap again.
Yeah, we'll take a look at his lap times now. 26 minutes to go. In comes Sevilla. Borja Garcia waits as the mechanics do their bit. severe, as we said, 8 coach loads of fans coming down. They've got a lot of support here. Had a 0-0 draw in their football last night with Valencia. Can Borja Garcia score one for them today?
And there he goes again on the throttle.
11 laps gone. Atletico still lead from Roma and Liverpool, now up to 3rd place.
Where is he rejoining? Just behind Craig Dolby. Craig Dolby's done a good pit stop and he's done well so far.
A lot of traffic here. There's Liverpool. Fastest lap, a 1:30.1. They're on it already. And that is very quick. That's the first man to get down in those times. But now he's got some free air, some open space to play with. He's in the rhythm, in the zone, as we call it.
Liverpool is currently 17 seconds behind Atletico Madrid, who is yet to pit, which means
he's definitely going to be leading.
He's going to be leading, yes.
By a long way,
by a long way, yes, exactly.
So Liverpool, despite that bit of traffic, have played it just right. And Adrian Valles, boy, are they focused at the moment. They just look at a cut above the rest at the moment.
Yes, they are. Last lap, for information, last lap of Beijing 1 is a 1:33.6. as Liverpool is lapping in a 1:30, so a big difference there. Beijing doing his job, which is staying on the track, trying to make up some places, and on the other hand, Liverpool doing his job, which is he has nothing to lose. He has to win the race if he wants to win the championship or keep his chances.
Keeping an eye on Atletico as they have got to make their pit stop fairly soon. They're at the back of the track at the moment, heading towards the back part into Dreisack corner, hard on the brakes and into the anchors. 2nd gear through here, back on the power now to the next left-hander, holding up tight here. The G-force quite heavy through here.
And AS Roma just did their pit stops and they went from 3rd to 5th position. AS Roma struggling with their car in this race, not looking as strong as yesterday in qualifying, and they've lost 2 places because of their lack of rhythm and after the pit stop.
Well, Atletico are leading the race, but Liverpool now in 2nd place. But of course, they have already taken their pit stop. So it's all going to be about the pit stop of Andy Susek and Atletico Madrid. Will it be this lap? It's not going to be far off if it isn't. No, they continue to circulate.
Okay, the gap between Atletico and Liverpool is in fact 25.4 seconds and not 17. That was including the gap with AC Milan, a bad calculation from me, but there is 25 seconds, so it's going to be tight between Atletico and Liverpool, but still I think Liverpool should be leading after that Atletico.
Let's take a look at the lap times. 1:31.8 by Atletico on that last lap, 1:30.8 by Liverpool. We'll see Liverpool cross the line in a moment, and we'll check their lap time out for this lap, see if they're gaining on Atletico on old tyres. 1:31.2. So yes, he is, but not by a huge amount.
No, and that's why Atletico has to pit as early as possible now if he wants to stay ahead, because the longer he will wait, the more time he will lose. And if he loses too much time, he will rejoin behind Liverpool and he will have no opportunity to defend his position. So he has to pit stop as early as possible to try to stay ahead.
The Pepsi Max Puma-sponsored Olympiacos team do their pit stop with no frills, and out they go. Young Greek does a good job. So Atletico, are they coming in now? They're still out there circulating into the chicane.
If they aren't coming now, they're making a mistake.
Big mistake. So Bruce Tuani has called it. In you come, Andy. It's time to take your break and see if you can get out in front of Liverpool, which is going to be hard. Here they come. Now, this is the whole race. It could be the championship.
And he goes off.
Oh, no! Atletico Madrid! What on earth?
And he stole the engine.
He's just blown the whole race and played it completely to Liverpool. That was a complete own goal.
Incredible.
What a shame. What a shame for Andy Susek at home.
Too much speed into the pit lane. Oh my God.
Not what the doctor ordered. Here it is again. He came in. He was moving fast and he just went too wide. Took his eye off the ball a little bit, and that is what happens. Liverpool drift on through and past the start-finish line, leading this race. Bitter disappointment. That's motor racing in a nutshell.
And he must have been left foot braking because he didn't have time to put his left leg on the clutch, and he should have kept the engine running. That's a big mistake.
Too late. He wanted to push.
That's incredible, and they're pushing him back.
Look at him, he's beating the car up. That's not going to help him.
No, he would have liked a bit more speed in the push, I guess, but the race is all over. So no contenders against Liverpool. Liverpool is leading, AC Milan is only 10 seconds behind. And the Corinthians are in the top 3 now.
Well, what makes it interesting is that Liverpool and AC Milan can both still win the league.
Yes, exactly. They are both keeping their chances open. And the Corinthians having the same car as this Atletico Madrid in terms of setup, because they're sister cars. He's doing a good job, and he's running currently in 3rd position in front of Porto and in front of Tottenham, who's doing a very good race.
Yeah, Tottenham up to 5th place at the moment, just ahead of Anderlecht. So the 2 Englishmen, Duncan Tappy and Craig Dolby, out there going strong in 5th and 6th place. Roma in 7th at the moment. Beijing are currently in 10th place. That's the big news story, because if they finish in 9th, then they hold on to their championship hopes, and hopefully they can finish 9th again in race 2, and that's it. Game over.
Yeah, we had lost track about that, but yes, Beijing is currently 10th, and reminds me something that good things comes to those who wait. He was very patient at the start of this race, and it's paying off. He's 10th, and I'm sure he's going to end up in the top 9.
Just to put a points forecast, there you go, 371, 341, Beijing plus 18, Liverpool plus 15. And the bottom line is, if Liverpool win both races, it's enough for Beijing to finish 3rd in this race, or finish 4th in the first race and simply start race 2. They're currently in 10th place, chasing 2nd in the league, PSV Eindhoven.
Yeah, and they're chasing, but PSV Eindhoven is a little bit faster on track than Beijing at the moment. PSV lapped in 131.8 and Beijing is in the 132.1. So PSV is quicker than Beijing so far.
Dortmund coming into the pits, they've had a torrid weekend. Rangers looking as though they're preparing themselves for their pit stop as well. Back with the leaders, Liverpool, AC Milan and Corinthians. Much better showing by Corinthians, and they're starting to find some form in the latter part of this season.
Rangers are 7 laps down, so they had a problem at the beginning of the race. They're still running to learn as much as they can and to prepare race 2 the best way they can.
Now this is a good battle. AC Milan, Corinthians, Porto, Tottenham, Anderlecht, all racing hard.
And as a reminder, Dolby started at the back of the green, and here he is again. Fantastic. Come on, Craig.
Well, Dolby's had a bit of a strange run-up to this race. He said that the car, since Zolder, in fact, has just not felt right for him. He said it keeps flexing, doesn't understand why the car moves underneath him, and it feels like there's something wrong with the chassis as the race goes on. So he's struggling out there, is Craig Dolby, but he says he'll battle on. Liverpool, meanwhile, lead the race by 10 seconds from the battle in 2nd place.
And I'm quite curious to ask Frank Pereira and AS Roma about what's going on, because he's very slow, he's still far off the pace, and now he's down in 7th, so there must be something wrong. He was starting on the front row, and he's been overtaken by everyone.
Whoa, Duncan Tappy all over the back of Porto. There is Beijing. And that's the gap between them and PSV Eindhoven.
I am sure Beijing will end up in the top 9. I have a feeling that something's going to happen.
And that keeps them online, and they only therefore need to finish where they qualify, effectively with the reverse grid, in the top 10 again in race 2, and they are champions.
Yeah, but Liverpool still has their chance. It's completely open. Perfect scenario for us this weekend.
Yep, 371, 341. That's the points forecast as it stands at the moment. Liverpool would go 2nd ahead of PSV Eindhoven, 341 to 314. That's how far ahead Liverpool are at the moment. There is 2nd placed AC Milan coming up to the first corner. In he goes. Duncan Tappy was pushing hard earlier. And into Curvo Expo 92 and headed towards Curvo Michelin they come. Down to 2nd gear now. And there is Duncan Tappy.
Porto is pushing Corinthians. Duncan Tappy and Tottenham is pushing Porto.
Up the hill they go to the very fast 5th, 6th gear now. And then down just 1 gear to the very fast right-hander, the Cito Pons corner. On board now, you get to see it. Down onto the back straight towards Curva Dreisack. Gomendy's view.
Gomendy keeping the apex, using all the track width and over the curbs.
Corinthians can get the podium here. It'll be their first ever podium here in Super League, and that's a big result for the Brazilians. Antonio Pizzoni, we know his class from Formula One days, and he certainly, I'll tell you what, we were saying it in qualifying, Pizzoni probably knows this track better than anyone else, simply because of the testing time he's done in Formula One here at Jerez.
Yeah, that's true. I mean, this track is currently used a lot for Formula One testing, and they're going round and round this track. And knowing the track is a big advantage here.
There's the gap again, and last lap 1:31.6 by Liverpool. AC Milan, are they making any inroads? We'll have a look this time as they cross the line. 1:31.7.
And Anderlecht is the fastest car out there. Craig Dolby doing a very good job in starting at the back, and he just lapped in a 30.1, which is nearly a 29.
There he is. So go on, Craig, the man from Melton Mowbray, going strong here.
I'm a great supporter of Craig Dolby because he's been very impressive this season. I didn't know him before Nürburgring, and at Nürburgring he finished twice second, and it was so impressive starting at the back of the grid and finishing so strongly, and here he is again doing it again.
He's a real charger, isn't he?
Yes, fantastic races, fantastic racecraft basically.
15 minutes to go, a 44-minute race plus 1 lap.
And he has Tottenham in front of him, who are they've done a good thing as well. They've done good races, good racecraft from Duncan Tappy. So a very good fight actually in this little group led by AC Milan.
Yeah, AC Milan actually holding station there in second place. And everyone, Craig Dolby is going just a little bit quicker, and you can see he's using the road.
Yeah.
Good race this, and just what we wanted for the final race of the season here at Jerez. Through the chicane they come, big bump on the exit there. See them bouncing over it. We go on board with AC Milan.
It makes this corner very tricky because without the bump it would be taken flat easy, but with the bump you really have to be careful on the throttle. You really have to keep the steering wheel light in case you catch oversteer to make sure you can catch the car.
So the gap 10 seconds, 10.7 seconds now between the leaders. 1:32, Liverpool have kicked it down a bit, and if anything AC Milan were quicker than that last lap, as were the chasing pack. So Liverpool have cranked it down just a little bit with 14 to go.
Craig Dolby still putting pressure on Tottenham, and we have Corinthians. Milan is breathing a little bit. He's nearly a second ahead of the Corinthians. Corinthians are 1.1 second ahead of Porto.
And Beijing in 10th place and some 4 seconds behind PSV Eindhoven. They need to get into 9th place.
Yeah, but still PSV is quicker than Sevilla.
It's all over for Flamenco. Well, we saw right in the early stages that Tuco Roca was having problems. Liverpool went past them.
Not a good weekend for Tuco Roca and Flamengo.
No. 13 minutes to go then. AC Milan's Robert Dornbos being chased hard by Antonio Pizzoni. Duncan Tappy, Craig Dolby.
So who's going to make a mistake first in that group?
Good question. Can't tell you. Corinthians, go on.
Gomendy is pretty steady, never puts the wheel in the grass.
I'll tell you what will happen. Craig Dolby will have a go.
At Tottenham.
He'll either pull it off or he won't. One of the two.
Really possible. Okay, good little pack of cars here.
You know, it was interesting. I talked to Tristan Gomendy and Craig Dolby yesterday, and one of the phenomena of Super League Formula, as we see now the gap between Liverpool and AC Milan up to 11 seconds. One of the phenomena, though, for these drivers, that they've spent all their careers racing for themselves and their family, and their team, whatever team it is that year. Suddenly they found the pressure of a full 100,000 fans, if not more, around the world, bearing down on them, and they do feel that pressure. It's quite different. They've never had it in motor racing.
No, for sure. They have a big weight to carry on their shoulders, but at the same time I think it's great motivation. You can see Adrian Reyes for Liverpool, he's loved
he's rising to it.
Yes, and Milan AC as Milan, the same with Dornbos, who's quite close from the team, and again Anderlecht. I mean, Craig Dolby felt so much support from the crowd when he went there that I'm sure he really wants to do well, and multiplies his motivation.
No question about it. They really are under pressure. And Tristan Gomedy said after that win at Vallelunga, he felt like the monkey was off his back. He felt like the pressure had gone and that he could really enjoy now racing. And Sevilla definitely under pressure today. They had all sorts of problems in qualifying. Had a crash with understeer into the gravel trap as we go back with AS Roma, currently in 7th place. 1.9 seconds behind Anderlecht. So a shame for Roma. Liverpool crossed the line now. They did a 1:32.0 in their last lap. Milan crossed the line now. A 1:32.1. The gap still 11.2 seconds.
And Roma and Sevilla and Eindhoven. Beijing is not closing the gap on PSV Eindhoven. Beijing is running in a 1:32.4. He's taking it easy. PSV Eindhoven is in the 31s.
Beijing still in 10th position.
So now we're on the PSV Eindhoven, who's at the back of that group of cars, who's currently running in 9th position in front of Beijing.
Yeah, Beijing would pick up 18 points for 10th place. Everybody scores, remember. And Alain behind them, FC Basel. Out of turn 2 and turn 3 with 10 minutes to go.
And now the last 10 minutes are going to be hard for the drivers. We might see a few mistakes happening because the track is hard physically, and it's the oxygen which is going to start lacking in the brain and in the muscles.
Well, Davide Rigan has shown no sign of weakness throughout the season. They've led all the way as the Italian representing Beijing, who of course head to the Bird's Nest Stadium, famous from the Olympics. And the Beijing team very much on the map now, both in racing terms and in football terms. Still a young team, only came into existence back in the early 90s. PSV Eindhoven just 6 seconds ahead of Beijing. There is PSV.
And here is Beijing crossing the line, still in 10th position. So we have Liverpool leading with 11 seconds on AC Milan, who's in front of Corinthians, just behind them, and just behind them as well Porto, then Tottenham, then Craig Dolby with Anderlecht, then Roma. Disappointment from Roma in 7th.
As the fuel comes down, Bruce, you've done a lot of test miles in these cars. Does it get easier then, therefore, as
yes.
you put some more pressure on in terms of getting some lap times?
Well, the lap time is coming down on his own as the car gets lighter, but you can brake later, you can ask a little bit more. As the car is getting lighter, it's much easier and much faster. The only thing is that you get tired.
Yeah. Liverpool will go second in the league, as you just saw there, if they finish off here. And they didn't start that way. They were all the way down after the first race, down in 7th position in the standings. And they've steadily built their way through. And I spoke to Valles yesterday, and he said that were it not for the few mechanical problems that they've had, they've been consistent and they could have won more races.
Yeah, I mean, all of them, and we have AC Milan now on the screen, all of them had problems. It's never been easy for anyone. It was the beginning of the season, but they were competitive, that's for sure.
Well, their Achilles heel was Nürburgring, of course, where they had 2 DNFs. Back with this battle in the midfield. There is Craig Dolby.
AC Milan under pressure from the Corinthians and from Porto.
Well, Corinthians now smell the possibility of getting a 2nd place, and they are pushing AC Milan hard.
Yeah.
Sonia really on it at the moment.
Very good race. Well, those 3 drivers are very experienced. AC Milan with Robert Dombos has in Formula 1 and Champ cars.
Well, the top 5 are on identical times in the last lap. They really are pushing hard each other, within a tenth of each other in every lap. It's saying something.
Yep, all waiting for someone to make a mistake, but none of them are making a mistake. But it's very easy. See Atletico Madrid coming into the pits.
Yeah, I know, one big mistake. That was a big mistake.
That was terrible. The car is very heavy, still without fuel. The car has a lot of inertia through the corner, and if you get it sideways, it's very hard to catch.
And remember, here's the interesting fact here, and something that Davide Rigon will be thinking about right now, is that he is in 10th position, right? 17 cars start. and that means that Adrian Valles, with the reverse grid in race 2, will start at the back. So Regan definitely in the driving seat, so to speak, when it comes to race 2.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, Liverpool is going to be starting last, and he has to win the race if he wants to win the championship.
Yeah.
If Beijing is finishing in the top 9.
So no real panic for Beijing just yet. 6 minutes to go. Super League formula from Jerez. A nice, cool, northerly breeze, but sunshine all the way as we come under the famous UFO and into turn 1. Through-going view shot is Sevilla. Borja Garcia, Eindhoven. There they are, just ahead of Beijing. Let's have a look at the gap. There's AC Milan. Corinthians still pushing them.
Roma, Sevilla, and PSV.
Waiting for Regan now. There he is. So Regan's still with a lot of work to do, and I don't think in 5 minutes he can catch that up. But I think, like you said earlier, he'll be happy with 10th. That'll do.
That will work for him. And on board we are. Let's listen to the V12.
Nice and smooth.
And he's getting close. He's getting close.
Corinthians keeping it cool though. Whoa!
Using all the track and all the curves through the Ayrton Senna chicane. And we're seeing the Corinthians and Pizzonia getting closer and closer.
There's some traffic out there in Jerez this afternoon. Dornbos. Corinthians into the last corner. 5 minutes to go.
Here we go, 5 minutes plus 1 lap. Porto putting pressure on the Corinthians.
I was going to say, while Corinthians are pushing, so too are Porto behind them. We're on board now with Antonio.
In second gear, making the apex, waiting to have the steering wheel straight to put all the power down. The next corner should be flat. Yes, it is.
Whoa.
Very hard, and it's tight. The track is not very wide. In 4th gear, they're in 4th, they were in 5th in qualifying, and it's hard to go back on the power. You see the car sliding. He has to open the steering wheel gently. That's oversteer for you.
Now, will Porto make a move by the looks of things? They're winding themselves up to do so, and these three, nothing in it. Liverpool, the gap has come down, but only slightly, 9.9 seconds. And car 14 has been summoned. That's Pettonia's team manager from Corinthians, has been summoned to race control. The story is not over. We've just had another twist.
I wonder what that is about.
So Pettonia could be in trouble if his race manager...
Speeding maybe in the pit lane.
Possibly.
Because we have Craig Dolby now on the screen with Anderlecht doing a very good race.
So Porto can sense the possibility of maybe getting a podium if Corinthians are in trouble. Tappi under pressure as well from Dolby.
Two English drivers. Tappi closing the door, checking his mirrors.
8.6 seconds, the gap has come down between the leaders, Liverpool, 133.5. But I think this is just Valles basically nursing the car home. He knows he's got a long race ahead, doesn't need to push too far, just needs to keep the gap at about 5 seconds before the end of this race. Back with Porto.
In 4th, back onto the power. He's not close enough from Pizzonia to try to make a move. Still Pizzonia puts himself in the middle of the track to make sure Tristan is not going to be able to make a maneuver. A little bit of a slide there. That's Tristan Gamundi's driving style. He carries the brakes very deep into the corner, so the weight is still on the front of the car and the rear is very light, and the car is sliding. He has oversteer. He's pushing hard, Tristan.
Yeah, no question about it. He really is pushing, as we saw on board there. And Corinthians still not decided as to whether the manager, who has gone to race control, has been given a penalty of any sort. We'll find out.
I would really like to see Porto without the Corinthians in front of them, because I'm sure they could be putting some pressure on the AC Milan car.
Right at the back of that group is Eindhoven.
Well, I'm telling you something. There's only 2 minutes to go, and the pit lane is long, so maybe the team manager from Corinthians is not going to be...
He hasn't got there yet.
No, he's not going to walk too fast to the race control.
Beijing crossed the line now in 10th position, but meanwhile leading. What a story it's been. Liverpool FC, they've dominated the weekend so far as we go on board with Duncan Tappy and Tottenham.
Back into fourth. Missing the apex there, running wide on the exit. Flat on the throttle as you can see on the screen. And you're going to see the G-force as he's braking, going up to 4 Gs in line, which is mega. This car is braking really
Yeah, that
strongly.
would make most normal humans quite sick. But as it is, Liverpool have led all the way in this race, and that would be the gap. They moved to second in the league with 3:41, giving them a chance, moving PSV Eindhoven down to third place overall, 314 they would have. Milan stay fourth, 312, but look, just 2 points between Milan and Eindhoven for the league title, so that's going to be all to play for. Liverpool then. 2 more laps to go. Clock needs to run down to 0, so he'll do another lap. There's the gap. We'll have a look at it. Was 8 seconds. It's now 7.8, but I think that's a controlled 7.8. It's not a worry.
No, he's controlling. He's just taking it safe. So probably a few tenths slower than what he would do if he was completely pushing hard.
Well, nobody's taken too much advantage of the push to pass because no one is able to overtake at the moment. But there's not many places to do so, is there?
No, just the main straight, I think. That's why it's a good job from Beijing, because starting from 18th position, finishing 10th is quite good on such a track. And the leg maybe, no. Tottenham having to close the door.
Yeah, Duncan Tappy having to really drive defensively at the moment. So Adrian Valles marching on to victory, the man from Toluca in Alicante. Some 800 kilometers from his hometown, but they've got a busload of his fans and friends cheering him on at the moment, and he's doing the business. Liverpool have not put a foot wrong. They'll come round here, and this will be the last lap coming up. Out comes the board to let him know. Liverpool.
He has a problem.
Crossed the line.
He has a problem. He has an
That is not
problem.
the end of the race, and Liverpool have a huge problem. And Milan are catching. Liverpool are in trouble. Liverpool has slowed dramatically.
Okay, it's going to be very tight because he still has power, but
4 seconds the gap.
No,
He's nowhere.
No,
he's slowing right down. He's run out of fuel. He ran out of fuel after qualifying. Here comes Dornbos. Dornbos and Corinthians. Dornbos is going to take victory. Here we go. Liverpool are nowhere. They are stuck in the middle of the track. They've got it going again. It's intermittent by the looks of things. Somehow Liverpool are just hanging on to that lead. Time running out though on the last lap. Adrian Valles is out of it. First, second, third. He's gone down to fourth. Dornbos leads. AC Milan lead the race. Oh, Liverpool. Right in injury time. Oh. Unbelievable. And AC Milan are going on to take victory. Unbelievable. Who would have thought that Liverpool would have a problem? And I reckon, well, they ran out of fuel after qualifying. Wonder if it's the same again. But here we go. Dornbos is going on to victory. And this changes everything.
I'm left with no voice for Liverpool after such a good race.
Well, the cop has gone silent for sure. And once again, Tristan Gomendi is going to make the podium. Corinthians still under investigation. So again, it's not over yet by any means.
And Liverpool is going to finish, so I don't think it's a fuel problem. I think it's an electrical problem.
Cross the line they come, and taking the checkered flag.
AC Milan, Corinthians, Porto.
Amazingly, AC Milan take victory here.
Tottenham, Anderlecht, Roma, Sevilla, Liverpool finishing 8th in front of PSV Eindhoven and Beijing. Where is Beijing? In 10th position, so Liverpool still finishing in front of Beijing.
And they're still talking on the pit board to Beijing. There, Liverpool still circulating. There is Guan. Are they going to get past? Well, their race is over too. Unfortunately, they finished 10th. And Liverpool, what a sad sight for them. Well, that's
amazing.
Everyone.
That's car
now,
14.
there is a 30-second time penalty for the infringement by car 14, which of course is Corinthians, which means that Corinthians do not finish second.
No.
And Porto move up to second place. Tottenham are on the podium.
Anderlecht is fourth.
And there is confirmation. AC Milan win the race. Porto are second. Tottenham Hotspur are third. Anderlecht are fourth. And Roma are fifth.
Yep.
And that means Beijing are ninth, interestingly enough.
Yes, because Corinthians are being put down back to 12th position, which means Beijing is P9.
Well, that race had everything, didn't it?
Yep. I told you, you have to wait, take it easy, finish, stay on the track. That's what he did. Very good job from Beijing. And what a sad end of race for Liverpool. Feeling very sorry for Adrian Valles. He had done the job.
Well, that's AC Milan's second win. Milan, of course, winners at the Nürburgring. Should have won at Donington, really. They've had a good few second places. But that's an important one for Robert Dornbos. And he said, as you heard in the interview, that he was going for it today. Flying the flag for his favourite football team, and it is AC Milan.
Yep. He wasn't very lucky at the beginning of the year. So basically, he gets a bit of luck at the last race.
They are confirmation then. AC Milan, the winners. FC Porto in second place, following up that win last time out at Vallelunga. Tottenham Hotspur in third place. That's a good one for the Spurs. Anderlecht and Craig Dolby in fourth. AS Roma fifth. Sevilla sixth. Liverpool in the end finishing in seventh place, just ahead of second place, but now third. PSV Eindhoven in eighth. Guan in ninth position. And Basel, Corinthians, Olympiacos, Borussia Dortmund, Rangers, Atletico, and of course all those teams you see there at the end not making it to the finish. And Regan is delighted. And well, he might be. He's done it. That's what he set out to do. Liverpool could have made it difficult, but they didn't in the end. And AC Milan's Robert Dornbos takes that checkered flag.
Very good job from Robert. He was one of the strongest all season. He was very, very consistent. And there he is, taking a win finally.
Yeah, great stuff by Robert Dornbos.
He was under pressure during all the race by the Corinthians and by Porto, but he kept it together.
Didn't do anything wrong, really, did he? And the pit stops, well, actually, very good pit stops from all the top teams.
Yeah, no mistakes. By now, the teams have worked out and trained well, so no one made a mistake. And Beijing finishing ninth, which means he's probably taking on the title, because AC Milan
don't want to confirm anything yet with all the infringements, etc. But there you go. Beijing are now confirmed as the Super League Formula champions. Weren't sure because obviously there were still stewards' inquiries after those infringements, but now we can confirm that Regan of Italy has taken Beijing to the first ever Super League title. The pressure is off, and you can see it written all over his face.
Robert, you said you were going to be on the top step of the podium, but that was unexpected on the last lap.
Yeah, well, that's motor racing. You know, you need some luck on your side. I think we had our share of bad luck with mechanical failures, and very bad for Liverpool. But you know, the good race. Even though I finished second, if I would have finished second, it would have been a good race. But to get the victory for AC Milan in the last race of the championship, with so much crowd on the tribunes, is great.
Yeah, it was a great result. You kept it steady all race.
Yeah, I actually had a big problem with the gear shifts, downshifts. They were getting worse and worse. I was losing pressure. So yeah, I was like the Robert Dornbos train at one stage, but we did it. We got the victory, and it's a great feeling.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
So Robert Dornbos' train has got into the station in the top slot. Let's go down now and find out about FC Porto's race with Tristan Gomendy.
Tristan, congratulations, second place. Did you expect that?
Yes, definitely, because we had a good car, so I expected to be in front and to fight for the victory. I didn't understand really what's happened with Corinthians, because he was in front of me, slower than me, and it's terrible because I think he's penalized now, but it's terrible because it was really possible to fight with AC Milan. He was slower than me, so but it's like that. The podium, it's always nice. It's nice for Porto, for me, for everybody. The team did a good job, so it's perfect. Thanks.
So then, that was Tristan Gomendy with his race. As you can see, the smile on the Frenchman's face. And Duncan Tappy can be well delighted. I don't think he expected to be on the podium. Tottenham Hotspur doing an excellent job to take that third place. And here's David Regan, though, the new champion of Super League Formula.
Oh. Davide, congratulations. How do you feel?
Oh, very well, because yesterday I was unlucky because I did a very small mistake, but today, you know, the lucky turn, and I was lucky because I had a lot of problems with the gearbox during the race, and I cannot push. I just have to think about the race, but this was perfect. You know, I don't won here, but I won in the last of the race when I won in Vallelunga. When I finish all the race, I never mistake. So yesterday I did a small mistake, but okay, now I'm very, very happy. I say congratulations to all my staff, all my team, perfect pit stop. So the car finished, so I'm unbelievably happy now. Okay, thank you very much.
It's been a mighty effort all season long, and the modest man from Italy takes the title, 373 PSV Eindhoven. In second place now, equal with Liverpool, so they'll fight it out for that runner-up spot. And AC Milan also on 317 points, so we've got an amazing battle for the runner-up spot coming up in race 2, and of course the reverse grid for that. A little bit of sunshine for Corinthians as they move up the board, but not enough, given that they were given that 30-second penalty. But there is the winning team and the winning car. What an amazing race. It had everything in it, and right from the lights, Liverpool looked good. A few lockups at the start, and Beijing stuck at the back behind Olympiacos in the early stages. A lock-up by Andy Susek early on, but Liverpool built on their lead, putting in fastest lap after fastest lap. David Regan finally getting past and making up some moves. As we went on board with him, he was siding his way through the field. Andy Susek looked from great form until this moment. How can you get that wrong? Well, he did, and sadly, the Spaniard had nowhere to go. Liverpool looked fine with AC Milan 8 seconds behind, fighting off the likes of Corinthians and Porto and Tottenham. And then suddenly, the Liverpool car started to go haywire. Past went Dornbos, past went the rest, and Liverpool were left down in 7th place as AC Milan marched on. There is confirmation. AC Milan. There is. So, brilliant win for AC Milan. But more importantly, the new title holders of Beijing. So, fascinating race 1, and more to come in race 2, given the fact that we've got 3 teams all vying to be the runner-up in Super League Formula. Well done to Davide Regan. Coming up the podium, and you can see the stands full. And out comes Duncan Tappy. Spurs on the up and up at the moment, both in football and, it seems, in motor racing. Tristan Gomendy's form continues. He swapped to high-tech, and it seems to have done the trick. And the Dutchman, the Flying Dutchman, who described himself as a freight train, is about right today. So the anthem rings out for Robert Doornbos, the big smile on the Dutchman's face. And congratulations to all the top three. And the prizes. And Robin Webb, the SF competition director, giving out the prizes. And a proud moment for him and for Alexandru, who, of course, who have together put this series in place. Henrik Paes, marketing man, giving out prize too, but a real proud moment. 6 rounds of very successful racing so far, and a big season planned for 2009. And the first place trophy is a massive one for Robert Doornbos. And a big one it is in terms of his career as well. Well done to Robert Doornbos. That's race 1. Reverse grid, remember, for race 2. Who's going to be runner-up? Bruce, what do you reckon?
Well, it's hard to say. 4 cars with the same, or 4 teams with the same amount of points.
So the anthems ring out, and now the champagne is poured in traditional motor racing style.
I think everybody had a share of the champagne, Robin Webb included.
Yeah, well, I think the celebrations will last long. Of course, we are in the sherry wine region of Spain, so there's plenty of good drinks to be had. Congratulations to Robert Doornbos. A beautiful race. I don't think he was expecting to win it. You have to give a thought to Adrian Vaez, who came so close. Pretty handy footballer, old Doornbos. Tristan Gomedy says he hasn't got a clue when it comes to kicking balls, but Doornbos, you can see, got a fairly handy start to him. Tappy holding the flag high for Tottenham.
Well, thinking of it, it's going to be a fight between PSV Eindhoven and Liverpool for the second spot, because AC Milan is starting right at the back.
Yeah, and in terms of the grid for race 2, you're right. AC Milan will have to start right at the back.
I just hope Liverpool will not give up on the second race, as he was going to win.
Galatasaray and Alessandro Perguidi will start in pole position. Flamenco, Tuco Roca, they went out early. They'll be on the front row as well. Then Atletico, Andy Susek will make amends, or try to, and he should be the favourite really, with Rangers' Ryan Dizelle not showing too strong himself. James Walker and Borussia Dortmund, who've had a torrid time this weekend, hardly getting any track time at all. Olympiacos start in 6th position. And then in 7th will be Corinthians. Antonio Pizzonia will put that pace to good use from 7th position on the grid. Remember, giving a 30-second penalty. And then FC Basel, Max Wiesel in 8th position. Bertrand Baguette and Alain in 9th position. There's David Regan. He starts the race pretty much where he finished it, in 10th position. Davide, the new champion, will be ahead of Jelmer Berman. Now, Berman and Vaez alongside each other, chasing Davide Regan. That's going to be the real battle. Berman has the advantage for Eindhoven in 11th, but Liverpool will be chasing. They both want that runner-up spot. Sevilla in 13th position. Borja Garcia racing at home. Frank Pereira will try and sort out the problems that were obvious in race 1. He's in 14th position. Anderlecht and Craig Dolby in 15th. And then finally the podium. Tottenham Hotspur finishing 3rd, starting 16th for race 2. Tristan Gomedy in 17th place. And right at the back, as we've mentioned, the winner of the first race. So then, there is the winning car.
Fantastic job from Davide Regan. So strong all through the season, and very good job from Zach Speed as well.
Fantastic crowds once again here. And as you can see, just warming up now for the second race. Plenty of festivities going on behind the scenes here at the beautiful race, as we call it. The sun is shining on Jerez, but it's certainly shining on the man of the moment. Plenty of fans from Sevilla, from FC Porto, and they'll all be cheering again. But David Regan, the man who took pole position and won the first race, has done it again here. He did enough in race 1 to take the overall series. I'm Jonathan Green. My thanks to Bruce Giuani. Celebrations then for Beijing. They have done it in style, and they'll be back to race 2 very soon indeed. Join us for the reverse grid race 2 soon.